Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head down to Slovenia once again, and we're going to revisit a brewery who you've seen me review a number of things from, and they always tend to be pretty damn good actually. So it's off to Nova Gorica once again, which is kind of close to the Italian border, and we're doing yet another beer from Pivovarna Reservoir Dogs. So this one is the Warrior. It's an American style pale ale coming in at 5.6%. This one uses Australian and American hops, and it is part of their Apocalypto series. Some lovely artwork in this one, as you can see, and also in this video a special thank you once again to Reservoir Dogs, that of course themselves for giving Davor the beer, but also Davor Shiritz, who organised to get this package up to me here in Sweden. He's watched the channel for a good number of years now, and the Slovenians are very enthusiastic people, and he was very enthusiastic when he saw my first Slovenian beer review, and he's followed the channel ever since. So I think that's pretty damn cool actually. But yeah, looking forward to this one as always, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Reservoir Dogs before. No doubt there will be some more in the near future. I can basically guarantee that because Davor gave me a good number of their beers. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Slovenian beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity, and quite regularly over the next little while. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Reservoir Dogs then. So Reservoir Dogs was founded by 4 friends who brewed in their spare time. So this was Uros Komil, who was a mathematician by trade, Alosa Polencic, who was a neurologist, Andrzej Sluga, who was an economist, and also Matthew Brezigar, who was an electrical engineer. But they say that they basically wanted to brew beer for themselves, and initially they learned much of their trade from the internet, reading brewing journals and books and all of these kind of things. But their beers proved to be very popular, and their brewing kind of continued to expand until they eventually turned professional and started up their own company. So the company itself was founded back in 2014, initially as a contract brewer. They were brewing their beers originally at the Hotel Gold Club in Aidoscina, but they are now based in Nova Gorica, which is right on the border with Italy, and they've just opened up their new brewery there, which has a much larger capacity, a lot of shiny metal and things in there, and they've also got a tap room as well, and they're going from strength to strength. I do believe that they've expanded their capacity 2 or 3 times with this new brewery, and if you look at the pictures on the website of the tap room, it looks absolutely lovely. So it's somewhere that I really do need to try and get to visit within the next year or two. Slovenia is somewhere that has been on my list for quite a long time, so that's something that will happen over the next couple of years. But the company, of course, the Reservoir Dogs name comes from the Quentin Tarantino movie of the same name. I think the guys are a little bit into that whole obviously they're quite into that, but I think they're part of the whole cult following that Quentin Tarantino gets. Very talented director, of course. But yeah, they do some lovely beers. If you look on their website, there's 16 different beers that are listed as being regularly brewed, and in their tap room, of course, you can get a lot of the different experimental things in there as well. But I've had some great experiences with this brewery. Probably the most special beer, I would say, or at least in my opinion. They do have their Batch 50, which is an awesome imperial stout, but probably the one I would recommend you can try if you can get it fresh is the Lone Wolf, which involves the Styrian Wolf hop, and that's an absolutely beautiful hop. Lovely melon flavours in there. The Slovenians produce 7 or 8 different kinds of hops. You've got Dana, Styrian Golding, Celaya, and Styrian Wolf. There's a couple of other ones in there that I can't remember straight off the top of my head, but a small country, but they produce some awesome high alpha acid hops that aren't quite all that well known. So if you want a true Slovenian beer, I would say have a look at the Lone Wolf and have a taste of that if you get the chance. Davor gave me that one, and it was absolutely beautiful. Probably my favourite beer I've had from them so far. But yeah, that's all you need to know about the brewery just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, and keep up to date with all the latest goings on there. So yeah, just have a little look at that. And as I say, it does tend to be the case that when a country is very, very good at wine, they're also very good at craft beer, and that is certainly the case in my experience with Slovenia. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. There you can see the lovely kind of warrior, almost, yeah, apocalyptic style artwork in this one. It looks very, very cool. And there you can see on the bottle cap the quite distinctive reservoir dog symbol. They've got a big massive badge of this behind their bar at the tap room as well. But yeah, really nicely presented, this one. They use caramelised malts in this, apparently, in a mixture of American and Australian hops. So very curious to see how this one turns out. Probably the most famous Australian hops these days, of course, are the likes of Galaxy, and Enigma seems to be getting very, very popular as well, actually. So yeah, as you could see when we opened this up, a little bit of smoke on the opening, but let's get it out and into the glass. As I mentioned to you earlier, this is a 5.6% American style pale ale. There we go. Lovely looking beer, that. As you can see, it's poured, we can get rid of the brewery notes now. As you can see, it's poured a nice sort of dark orangey amber colour. It's quite a rich amber colour, this one. You will get that, of course, when you use caramelised malts. They may, right enough, have used a slightly longer brew, maybe a 70-minute brew or something like that, just to get it a little bit darker. But it was, you know, nothing overly surprising from this one in terms of its appearance. You've got a solid finger of a frothy, I would say kind of creamy, slightly fawn coloured head on this one. You can smell some lovely fruity notes coming out of this one straight away. But yeah, if I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see this beer is quite hazy, but one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of that head. But if you hold it up to the light, you can definitely see this one is not hazy in terms of, in New England terms, if you like. It's definitely a little bit more along the lines of a kind of West Coast Californian style IPA pale ale type thing. But yeah, lovely looking beer. There's nothing really surprising in terms of its appearance. So let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on. Ooh. Now that smells nice, I have to say. So yeah, with this one underneath straight away, you'll get the nice kind of caramelly malts out of this. You've definitely got a little bit of that kind of slightly toasty element to it. You can smell it's a little bit, it's got a bit of sweetness to it, the caramel side of things, but it's also got a little bit of that toasty edge. There's a little bit of a biscuity, grainy kind of quality to this beer as well. You can smell there's a little bit of that kind of pale malty quality as well. Got a little bit of that mixture between kind of white and brown bread in it. I always remember the Slovenian beers having a lovely, slight sweetness to their malt base, but they also have just a little bit of kind of fruity, juicy quality in there as well, and you definitely get that from the hops in this one. So yeah, on the hoppy side of things with this, you can pick up some tropical fruit in there, but I would say the most prominent one is orange. It really is orange that's jumping out at this one for me. It smells like a more kind of oily orange, which makes me wonder if it's Amarillo that's in there, but you can usually tell a little bit more from the flavour actually, what kind of hops that you're going to get. And it doesn't say on the website right enough, but it just says American and Australian hops, and of course they do want to keep their recipes secret right enough. But yeah, with this one you really can smell that lovely blend of fruit in there. There's a little bit of a mango-y kind of note to the beer. It's mangoes and oranges, I think, that are coming out of this one. So it could well be, if it's, you know, it could be a little bit like a, you know, Victoria's Secret or something like that that's in this one. I don't think there's Galaxy in here, because it's not really coming across as passion fruity. If it was Galaxy, it'd be more kind of passion fruity, I would think. Yeah, to me the aroma comes across as more orangey and mango rather than anything else. But you've also, you know, you've also got a little bit of a kind of, you've definitely got a little bit of that nice kind of floral freshness to it, and a little bit of a lighter grassiness as well. To me, this one comes across as being a little bit more floral than grassy. You always have to look at these floral and grassy components of the hops. But the aroma really is really nice. It's got a good balance between the malt and also the hops. In this one you've got some nice juicy fruits. You've got a nice little bit of a sweet malty backbone to it. And you've also got the freshness you expect of the grassy and floral side of the hops too. But let's have a taste of this one then. I'm very, very curious about this. This is the Warrior Pale Ale from from Pivovarna Reservoir Dogs in Nova Gorica in Slovenia. Once again, a huge thank you to the guys at the brewery for giving Davor this beer, and a huge thank you to Davor for arranging the transport of it here up to Sweden. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål, na zdravje. Oh yeah. I'm going to say straight away, thumbs up again. You know, is this my favourite beer that I've had from Reservoir Dogs? I don't think so. Is it a good beer and very solid within its style category? Absolutely. You know, it really is very nicely done. Yeah. It's one of these ones that's just, it's very, very drinkable. And it's got a good bit of flavour to it, just to kind of back that up. I mean, as I say, probably my favourite beer, my personal favourite that I've had from these guys was Lone Wolf, and the Grim Reaper IPA was also very nice. This one's just a little bit like the kind of, it's got the same vibe to it, but it's just a little bit like the Baby Brother, if you like. It's just a nice kind of easy-going, sessionable beer, this one. So just, you know, bear that in mind when you try this beer. It's one of these ones that straight away you can see how well done this beer is. But you know, if you want something that's a little bit more kind of punchy and things like that, then go for one of the bigger brothers, go for, you know, the Grim Reaper, or go for the Lone Wolf. But this is a solid pale ale. You know, it's the pale ale. It's a style I don't drink all that many of. I would always tend to go to the IPA rather than the pale ale. But they've done a very good job of this, and you know, to be honest, I'm not surprised, because they are a very solid brewery in my opinion. So yeah, just let's kind of break this beer down a little bit then. So in the middle of your palate you can feel a nice bit of, you can feel the sort of pale malty quality just blank in the middle of your palate, but the further and further into the flavour of this beer you go, it does gradually become sweeter and sweeter. In the very centre of your palate you can feel there's a little touch of an oily caramel there. It does have a little bit of a slightly toasty edge to it, and then back from the when you move out from the centre, just out towards the sides of your palate, there's a nice little bit of there's definitely a nice little bit of a kind of more biscuity. It reminds kind of biscuity quality. It reminds me of the McVitie's digestive biscuits that I always used to eat at home in Scotland. It's definitely got a little bit of that kind of biscuity sweetness, or cookies as the Americans might say. I don't know whether the English that the Slovenians learn is more of an American English or more of a British English. I really don't know. So it's that sort of cookie biscuity type flavour that you get out of this one in the malt base as well. But yeah, I really like how this beer's going together. The malt base is really nice, but I always remember this about the Lone Wolf and the other one as well. These beers have the Reservoir Dogs seem to have a very good way of balancing their beers, but I think, again, this was something I found quite generally with the Slovenian beers. They like the malt to have a little bit of presence in the beer, and it's always, you know, they've always got a slightly sweet malt base. You do get a little bit of bitterness from them, but the fruity side of the beer is always quite juicy. And it's interesting trying IPAs and pale ales and stuff from different countries, because you do start to notice little things like that. And of course, whenever you take different food and all of this to other countries, they really are geared towards the local palate. And as I say, I think the Slovenian beers generally sweet malt base, a little bit of hoppy bitterness, juicy fruits. Those are the three things that you can usually tell. It would be quite interesting to do an experiment with some IPAs, blindfold tasting, and see if I can tell what country they're from. Maybe that's an interesting future video for you. But this one, it really, you know, for me, the mouthfeel and everything like that is very typically Slovenian compared to the other ones, you know, compared to when I think about the other beers that I've also had from Slovenia. But yeah, on the hoppy side of things then, it's balanced really nicely. I mean, in the back corners of the palate there's a little touch of earthiness there. It smooths out a little bit, and as you come further forward towards the front of the tongue, you've got a nice little bit of floral aromaticity to the beer as well. And round the very front curve of the palate, you've got a little bit of a more kind of lighter, grassy quality to the beer. And when you go behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where you get that little oily bubble where those juicy, fruity esters start to come out of the beer. For me, this one, it does kind of, it's got a good little bit of an orangey quality to it, and I'm wondering, I mean, it's difficult in this one actually to pick between whether it's Amarillo and Mosaic, and usually I always find those quite distinctive, because Amarillo's more oily orange, tangerine, the Mosaic is a little bit more of a tangerine orange, and you get a little touch of blueberry out of it. This one's kind of somewhere in the middle of that, but there's definitely a little bit of a kind of almost apricot-y, papaya type flavour coming out of this one, and you can feel that there's the main kind of focus, if you like, of the fruity side of the beer for me is oranges, but as I say, it does have a little bit of an apricot-y, papaya-y type thing there as well. It's oranges at the back part of the palate. Then as you come further forward, you do get a little bit more of a kind of that the more tropical fruits coming out in there. As I say, it's a little bit papaya is really the thing that's coming to mind with this one. A little bit of papaya, a little bit of a kind of apricot-y thing. I think there's a little bit of a mango-y quality to this one as well, but you know, overall as a pale ale, as I said, this one is very, very nice, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. I'd love to try it on tap and just see how it comes out, because I think if it has a slightly more oily mouthfeel than it does, you might just get a little bit more kind of sweetness out of this one and more of the juicy fruits. But as it stands, very, very well balanced beer, and you know, thumbs up to Reservoir Dogs once again. They've done a good job with this beer. Yeah, I like how this one's going together. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say, you know, mid-bodied, this one, nice soft carbonation. The mouthfeel overall is leaning towards the oily side of things. Good little bit of hoppy bitterness to the beer. I think this one's maybe around the 50 IBU mark. I think it's about 50 that you're going to get out of this one. You know, good blend of smoothness and sweetness in the malt base, leaning slightly more towards the sweet side of things, and a good little bit of a juicy, fruity quality in there as well. It's got everything you would want from the beer, and as I mentioned earlier, you know, it definitely has this Slovenian characteristic to it. As I say, a little bit of a sweet malt base, good bit of hoppy bitterness, but also some juicy, fruity qualities. It really, you know, you start to notice these things after you try a few beers from Slovenia. There is a sort of characteristic profile that you get from some of these, but you do notice that between different brewers as well. I'm maybe stereotyping the whole country on the basis of one brewery, you know. But when I think about it, you know, when I've tried things from Pivovarna Reservoir, the Lobik brewery, Pivovarna Tectonic and things like that, you know, that really is the thing that keeps coming back. You've got oily, kind of juicy oily fruits, sweet malt base, and just a little bit of bitterness. I think it does seem to be something that comes out just in these Slovenian IPAs, but it seems, you know, very, very good beer country, and this is another one that kind of fits into that. The little brother of some of their other beers, not the most punchy, kind of outgoing sort of beer, if you like, that you're going to find from Reservoir Dogs, but in its category as a pale ale, very, very solid, and you can't ask for much more than that, right enough. So if you like the pale ales, if you like a slightly kind of toned down version of the IPA, if you like, I think this is one that you will quite enjoy. So yeah, have a go at this beer for yourself and just see what you think. Pretty much any of the beers you have from Reservoir Dogs, I think you will enjoy, and they are all very good quality. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Pivovarna Reservoir Dogs as well. You will see more reviews from these guys over the next little while, and hopefully I can go and visit their tap room at some point in the fairly near future, because I really enjoyed their beers. Thank you again to the brewery and to Davor for making this review possible, and you will see more Slovenian beer reviews over the next little while. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys later. This is the Warrior Pale Ale at 5.6% from Pivovarna Reservoir Dogs in Nova Gorica in Slovenia. Until the next time, Slanjic Snow, Skol and Nazdravia.